Yo, what's going on? We've got John Through My Lens on the podcast tonight. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great. How about you, Ray?
Good, man. Cheers to you, my friend.
Thank you. I got my Gatorade here.
Oh, cool, cool. It's crazy because you're actually helping me shake the rust off right now with podcasting. I basically I want to say 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks prior, right? I did 2 weeks of just straight podcasting almost every single night. The lady was not happy about it. I can tell you that much. So I had like 10 episodes in the bag and I would just release them each week. So I basically had a little podcast vacation, but I was like, you know what? I can't lose that edge,
Right.
because talking
Yeah,
to people is a muscle basically. And then
absolutely.
I saw you comment on one of my videos and I was like, I checked out your page and I was like, yo, this guy's a pro, man. You know what I mean? Like he has like professional photographer, some cinematography skills. You got the small little edits with the Instagram and all that. Do you do all that work?
Absolutely. Yep, I do it all myself.
You're using Premiere or what software are you using?
No, I've got. You might be able to see behind me my MacBook and my screen there. So I'm using all Apple stuff. Final Cut Pro
Oh, okay.
for videos, and I use Lightroom and Photoshop for photography.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you're a professional photographer for how long?
Oh gosh, that's going back to about probably 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've got the chops for sure. And I can see that with your shots. And I looked at your Instagram. I'm always jealous when I see someone with like a really beautiful grid, you know what I mean, on Instagram, because mine is just chaos. Like I just post videos. Sometimes I do reels. Sometimes I'm doing comedy sketches. And yeah, I always find that to be super cool. How long have you been into knives?
Probably since about 2005. Well, so my father collected knives, and when I was much younger, uh, he went to a lot of gun shows where gun people too,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he would always bring back a Swiss Army knife.
Cool.
And by the time I was 18, I had like an entire roll of probably 50 Swiss Army knives, and I really wasn't too much into knives and still until I started doing more tactical training. And
Hmm.
then uh, Rick Hinder actually came to a class that I was in at Tactical Defense
Wow.
Institute, and I've trained with him a couple of times at Tactical Defense Institute. But I got to buy one of his knives back when you couldn't buy one of his knives. There was
Damn.
without paying about three times table price.
Wow.
Um, so that was kind of a neat experience. But then that kind of got me hooked. I'd been buying a couple of Benchmades and a couple of Spydercos here or there, but that really got me hooked into the higher end stuff.
Wow. So the way we started talking was you messaged me and you were like, hey, oh no, you commented on my video, like, hey, how do you get into this pass around thing? Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because I know you've noticed if you do watch knife YouTube, there are a lot of like up and coming knife reviewers that are in this Apex pass around group. And
I've heard it mentioned before.
yeah, so for the people that don't know, which is going to be strange because if you follow my channel, I talk about it all the time. The Apex Pass Around group is the admin is basically Blade Banter on YouTube. And
Okay,
the way I got into it was he messaged me in one of those mornings where you're like rushing to get outside the door to get to work, right? I worked in an office at the time and I was getting messed. I'm like, oh, I can't, I'm like trying to get dressed. And I thought he was a different person. I didn't know Blade Banter, who was actually a bigger channel than me, even at the
yeah,
time. And
yeah.
I just sent him a quick message. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to, like link up with you guys. I don't want to review clones and like I have some Ganzos, but I don't want to do Ganzos. I want to do and then he sent me a list of companies that he works with. And it was like everyone, like We
Oh
Knives,
wow,
Artisan Cutlery, um, TRM, like literally everything. Every
yeah,
from American to foreign manufacturers, like they were all like the highest people. Even some of the online retailers like Urban EDC Supply that have really amazing stuff, River's Edge Cutlery, they were all working with him. And you know, when I finally like realized who he was, I was like, yes, I'd like to join, please. Like, you know what I mean? I got humbled real quick. So the Apex Fast Run group, man, if you're into it, basically it's just a group of reviewers that are pretty active, various degrees of how active they are on YouTube and in the group. Basically, if you were to, let's say, this is what I carried today, by the way, a viewer sent this in to me. Shout out to Winchester Inc. This is a Tucson TS232. If, let's say, you see this knife and it's in a thread in the Slack is the app that we use, and let's say the thread for it. So you will comment in the word in. That basically means that you want to be part of the pass around. You'll get added to the list, and that knife travels through all these reviewers, right? Blade Banter keeps track of everything. There's like, I gotta say, there's at least over 42 of us right now, and and we have so many knives in the rotation.
Wow.
And so basically that's what'll happen. So if it'll say John, like, or Through My Lens or whatever. And then when you're next, it'll go to you. And then you have a certain amount of time to take a look at it and give your honest feedback about it. And then you send it to the next person. You of course, you try not to damage it. There are rules for certain things, like some knives of a higher cost. Maybe they'll say you have to pay extra insurance, or they'll say like, don't do too many tasks with this one. This is literally just for viewing, things like that. But we get some cool stuff, man. And it's a very, very cool thing for reviewers that are not, I mean, we even have some of the really big names are in there too. Shabazz is in there. Cedric and Ada are in there. Metal Complex, Slicey Dicey. These guys are all in the group. They're not as active as maybe some of the younger channels like me. But again, like if you were in it, you would just opt in for only the knives that you want to check out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's pretty
That
cool.
sounds
And yeah, it's cool that you're doing this, because it's kind of become this involuntary thing where I get to interview people, and then, you know, usually if the podcast is like going well and I can tell this is a good person, I'm like, hey, put this person in, you know?
yeah. Well, since you showed what you're carrying today, I'll show you what I'm
Yes.
carrying.
Wow.
This is a
Hinderer.
buoy blade Hinderer XM18.
Wow. That's awesome.
So
I have yet to
one of the
hold a
most
Hinderer
from the
yet.
recent drop.
Wow. I've never had a Hinderer before. I was able to check out the 0560, the ZT. That's about the closest thing I've gotten. Slicey Dicey sending me a care package with a Hinderer in there, like the first one I'll ever be able to check out. So I'm pretty hyped for
Fantastic.
that, man. Yeah. I watched your Shirogorov Hation video on my way home. You know what's crazy is I was hyped to do this podcast, but I don't know if it's because I had a lot going on at my shop today. Shout out to Ayla CBD. I sell CBD. We have a shop. And I was watching movies during the downtime. I forgot to check out a lot of your channel. What I do is like, I like to watch tape on people, so I'll have like fuel for the conversation. But the Hation, yeah, you know, there was some interesting things that you pointed out there, because I was always interested. I mean, who isn't interested in a Shirogorov if you never had one, right?
Yeah.
What prompted you to try to pick one up? Like, what was it that happened?
Well, so basically during the whole pandemic thing, I decided that I was going to try to make the best use of my time by one, doing a lot more with my Instagram account and doing a lot more photography, and two, by doing a lot more videos in my YouTube channel. I was going to try to kick up the activity for both. And over the course of the past 8 months, I've been able to acquire some really high-end mid-tech production models, Hinderers, Chris Reeve, Koenig, and I've never really played much with a Shirogorov. A buddy of mine, we went to lunch and he had one of the 111s. Those are just too big for me. But the Hation Zero kind of intrigued me. I'd wanted to, just from the fact that Shirogorov has this mystique, has this reputation, I thought, hey, just from, if nothing else, from the aspect of being a more well-rounded knife enthusiast and knife reviewer,
Mhm.
I should probably get an example of their work to really benchmark against other things that I review. Primarily, I tend to stick more toward American-made stuff.
Yep. Yep.
More recently. I have had a couple of Wiis before. I've met the folks from Wii at SHOT Show.
Mhm.
They're really nice people, really great. Right now, my personal collection is pretty well focused in American makers. But I picked up the Shirogorov, and it's been a pretty neat experience.
Yeah, I watched the video and I was like watching intently, man, because like I'm on the train and I'm just kind of like trying, first of all, like I'm trying to figure you out too, like what kind of knife reviewer you are, because like me, for example, they're like different, we're the same breed, us knife YouTube guys, but we all like kind of do different things. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
Oh
I
yeah.
am from the content creator breed. Like I just want to create content on every single platform there is, just to see like what works. That's kind of like what gets me going with this whole social media thing is like, I'll make a sketch on TikTok and then I'll make a tweet on Twitter and then I'll do a reels on Instagram. I'll post a photo, then I'll do I that's what I love doing. I just happen to be a knife guy. So yeah, when I watch tape on people, I try to just figure out what kind of reviewer they are. But you seem to be like someone who's been in the hobby like much longer than me. You know your stuff. You got the photography skills in the bag too. And with the Shirogorov Hation Zero, oh man, to hear some of the things you said, I was like, oh, that's such a bummer. Like, because I didn't think of that. Like the proprietary hardware part. I didn't think of that. And I was like, I wouldn't even dare try to open this if I didn't have the hardware because first of all, it's expensive, right?
Sure.
And like, just some of the things that you compared it with the Koenig Arius and how you said you preferred to have like cage ceramic bearings or something like that, right? Like a cage bearing
Uh,
system.
yeah, a captured
Yeah,
system.
captured.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Yep.
I was like, oh, he like the way you compared the two. I was like, man, I'm kind of on his side here. You know what I mean? How much was that
Yeah.
Koenig Arius anyway?
That one was 750.
Yeah. I'm more along, I mean, the way it was flipping open, the how smooth it looked, I felt like I probably would have went that way. I haven't dove into the sort of 400 plus range too much. The most expensive knife I've ever bought is the Sandra Knives Clemente 1. I think I have like 64 out of 100 or something like that. And that
Nice.
was $995. And the only reason why I bought that is my dad's name was Clemente. And I found that knife by accident around the time that he passed. So I thought of it as a sign, like I have to buy this knife in honor of my dad. That's actually how this channel started. I had this super sappy, like very bad cinematography, like kind of video. But at the time in on Knife YouTube about almost 4 years ago, no one was doing that. No one was
Yeah.
putting heart and soul into videos. The
Yeah.
opening line of the video was people say you don't become a man until your father dies. And it was like sad piano music. That's how I got
Oh,
started. But yeah, I
yeah.
haven't really dove into mid techs and stuff yet, like things around 400 plus. I've gone to check out CRKs before. I think the small and Cosi. Yeah, Sabenza 21 small. I think Slicey's sending me some stuff. But out of the three, right? What do they call that? The Trinity or
The
whatever,
Trinity.
right?
Sure. Yeah.
Which one is your pick?
Probably Hinderer,
Oh
uh,
yeah,
followed by Chris Reeve, only because uh, I do have kind of a tactical bent
yeah,
to
yeah.
my knife collecting.
Hmm.
I'm not really a Strider guy at all,
Yeah.
but yeah, Hinderer followed closely behind Chris Reeve.
Wow. So it's Hinderer first, right?
Hinderer first.
Okay. Oh man, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So you do purchase your knives like based on a more like if there's a chance for self-defense? Is that like how you go on
Yeah,
purchasing?
yeah. Most knives that I own in my collection, I want to make sure that if I should get pressed into a situation where I would need to use it defensively, I could.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
and and I had some training in that regard. So,
Yeah. How long did you go to that class for?
so their Tactical Defense Institute is here in southeastern Ohio. They do offer every year a couple of knife defensive knife training classes, and I've taken that class twice. It usually lasts an entire weekend.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday, Sunday, all day kind of thing.
You ever like get to see like Dagmar Kaida and all that? Like, I mean, he's Filipino. I'm Filipino. I've never gotten into knife fighting. It's I don't even own a Bali song because they're completely illegal in New York City. You can't even have it in your house.
Sure, sure.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Don't get me wrong. If I get in a situation where I have to use my knife
Yeah.
defensively, it's a very bad day. That means
course, yeah.
it means a whole lot of other things have gone wrong.
Yeah. Yeah,
Including because obviously my first instinct would be to go from a gun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in New York, I always say this, like, like I have my keys on a chain usually, and that's not because I'm trying to be a Massimo kid from the 90s or like a skater kid. That's
Sure,
because so I could wrap my knuckles in case something happens. And
sure,
if I do go for my knife at all, I'm probably just gonna grab it like this to just use it without it being open.
right.
Because I mean, look, man, if I have a buddy of mine who just told a story actually where he had to defend himself against 5 assailants, and there was video, and he did stab a guy, right? And
Yeah.
he was the one that got locked up, yo. So, and yeah, and
Wow.
I know some people are thinking like, oh, he must like be a minority or something. Nah, straight up white dude, bro. Like, yeah, went to jail, went to
Uh,
6 months, I think. And they basically told him like, hey, you should plead guilty because you're gonna get maybe less than a year, and if you don't, you're gonna go in for like 15. I'm like, damn. And in the video, you could, and this is a very nice guy. This is not like a troublemaker kind of dude. But
sure,
I do get those thoughts in my head when and sketchy stuff happens in New York City all the time. Just like on the subway
sure.
ride home tonight, like there was a couple of people that how you get that sense when you see someone and it's
Hair
like
on the back of your neck stands
yeah,
up.
like you
Yeah,
just know, like, okay, I have to kind of like watch out now. Like, let me put
yeah,
my phone away. That always happens. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't know if I would ever, unless I was like about to die. You know what I mean? Like I would,
sure.
of course, like sure, maybe I'll get locked up, but I'll be alive. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's the only thing, man.
Yeah.
So like how do they start you off in that like knife training, like basics? Like what do they make you do at first? Do they have those little trainers that light up or like how does it work?
Yeah, so they do have some trainers in the class, or they encourage you to bring a trainer,
Hmm.
and you start off just practicing basic, different grips,
Yeah.
understanding what makes a good knife to be able to use in a defensive kind of purpose, um, and there's a whole lot of practice with pads and
Yeah.
yeah, one of the things that they do that's real interesting. I actually have a video on my channel from the class.
Yeah, I saw
It's
some of your
from
gun range videos and your the deer carcass one. Yeah,
that's the one.
way
That's the
way
one.
back. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah. They because who's ever stabbed anyone before?
Yeah, right,
No,
right, right.
no one has. So they bring uh yeah, I think it was a deer carcass, and
Hmm.
they actually put some like a jacket around it so that
Yeah,
you kind of get a feeling for how much
fiber.
effort is it going to take to get to go through this and
Yeah.
actually do some damage. And everybody in the class takes a turn,
Hmm.
uh, because everyone is always surprised at just how easy it is
Oh
to cut
yeah,
some. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, look,
So
man, we as knife guys, we cut ourselves all the time, and you're like, what the hell? Like, how did that? Right?
right,
It's like,
right.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you ever go like hunting or anything like that?
Um, no, I don't. It's
Yeah.
I always say, I would have no problem using lethal force to defend myself or my family, but I
Yeah.
could never kill Bambi.
Oh man. Is it because they've just been too humanized? You know what I mean? Because like for me, right? For me, I really got into the idea of trying to go and do it because I think I just listen and watch the too much Joe Rogan, and this guy is just like, I started working out because of him. I started like, just getting more in shape and just, things of that nature. And I found that the pursuit of providing like meat for your family is like a very honorable one. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
As
The
opposed
idea
to
of
like,
harvesting is,
right, right.
yeah,
Like I don't
yeah,
mean like I'm gonna go kill this elephant. That's not my thing, you know. But if
right,
like I'm
right.
gonna go spend 3 days with a buddy in the woods and like try to get an elk or something or whatever, like that would be kind of cool to experience, to see what that's like, you know. Yeah, but it's crazy. I haven't shot a rifle since like I was 5 years old in the Philippines, man.
Yeah.
I'm like 40 right now, so I don't even know what I'm saying. But yeah, that whole world like definitely excites me, man. Do you have any other knives on you right now that we could check out, or?
I actually have my collection right over here.
Yeah, yeah. Show me some
Um,
cool stuff, man. Let's check out some knives.
so this was mentioned a little earlier. This is my Conigarius.
Wow, beautiful, man.
So I've got
That's awesome.
the blue hardware on there.
Yeah. Every time I see a
Um,
Koenig, I'm like, oh man, oh, I should go have that.
um, this one was actually, I had a kind of a hard time finding it. This was kind of a grail this year.
Yeah.
This is just a Sabenza with the black micarta.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep. Is that the 21?
This is the 31. This is the
31.
newest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow.
So
How many
really like
CRKs do
that
you
one.
have, man?
Right now, I just have two. I have that one, and I just have, the plain Jane here. I do
Yeah.
have this one is a double thumb stud.
Yeah.
I sent it to CRK and put a thumb stud on the clip
That's
side.
cool. That's cool.
So
That's
I
awesome.
I don't have a lot of knives. Here's this is a neat. This is one of the skinny sheep's foot
Oh, I
models
saw you
from
post
Ender.
about that. I think on your Instagram, or maybe it was a YouTube title that I saw. Yeah,
This is a
what's the
this is
blade
really
length
funny.
on that one?
3.5 inches.
I see, for me, right? I think if I didn't live in New York City, I would like a bigger blade. But since I'm
Yep.
here, it's like all about concealment. Like I don't even carry like with the clip. Like I'm carrying in the pocket, sometimes in the sheath, sometimes outside of the sheath, but just in the pocket.
Yep.
And also the other thing is like if I get frisked like for some strange reason, police are always going to do this in New York City. This is the first thing they do. Like they didn't get the memo that it's 4 inches blade length there. Like
Oh
no
my
one has.
gosh.
So they do the
Yeah.
palm test. They stopped doing the gravity test for the most part, but it's still a fear of mine, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
I'm basically I like 3 inch blade length or below, which is kind of
well.
out of the
The
ordinary.
XM18 comes in two different sizes.
Yeah.
There is a 3 inch.
Yep.
So that might be more your speed.
Yeah, Metal
Um,
Complex, when I had him on here, man, he was just really trying to sell the Hinderers hard. He loves
yeah.
Hinderers, and he's like, man, you should get the 3 inch Eclipse. I'm like, and I'm Googling it. I'm like, oh, it's $400.
Yeah. Probably one of the hotter knives that I
Yeah.
have right now is this one. This
Ooh.
is a Vero Synapse.
Yes, I've been seeing a lot of his stuff on Instagram lately. That looks
Yeah.
so cool. How is it?
It is really nice. Really, really nice.
Wow.
Just
Wow. I remember when he first came on the scene, like big, right? And I was just all of a sudden now I just see his stuff and they look so like beautiful, man. How much
yeah.
did that run? That one?
Oh gosh, it was 300-ish.
That's pretty
Of
good.
course, yeah.
Is
Of
it,
course,
is it US made or is it
no,
through an
Best Tech.
OEM? Oh,
Best Tech.
Best Tech. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Best Tech rep is a YouTuber. The US rep for Best Tech is Outer Limitless. He does a bushcrafting channel. Pretty cool dude.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's the one that is our contact basically, because Best Tech sends us all their stuff too, whether it's high end or low end. Here's one of the cool things about the Apex Fast Round group I didn't tell you about. So when
Okay.
you opt in to review a knife, sometimes I would say maybe 65% of the time, the companies allow us to raffle it off to whoever reviewed it or made content for it. I've won a bunch of things already, and it's
Oh,
awesome
nice.
when that happens. So
Yeah.
I've won like a Spyderco Shaman. I've won like QSP Puffin. Um, just some CRKTs, like whatever. It doesn't matter what if it's budget or a higher end production, like you can
Sure.
still win it. Yeah, it just depends on who gave it to us, basically. So that's
Yeah.
another cool thing, man. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. 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 It really does sound neat.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? Here's that Shiro. And I really do
Oh.
think you would like this. I really do think you would like
Oh
this.
man, if I had money, I would. Yeah. Yeah. What's the
You can
placement on that one? You said 3.25, right? In the video, I think.
It's 3.37. It's
Yeah, I
like
remember you said that you
3.4.
wished
Yeah.
that it was 3.5,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
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 Oh man,
But
it sounds
but
awesome.
I do really like it. It's
Wow.
it's pretty nice.
It definitely, you use the word mystique. It definitely has Shiro just has this mystique about all
It
the
does.
knives, man. And you just kind
It
of like
does.
curious about it. Like, what does it feel like? Why is this one, 1500? Like, I don't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I want to
Yeah.
know.
This is a unique one. You may not have even ever heard of Daryl Ralph.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen his posts on Instagram. I follow him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is just a fantastic knife. The compound grind that's on this is
Wow.
amazing. This is such a meaningful knife to me because
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Steel Target Paint shooting team,
Okay.
and Larry Steely, who owns Steel Target Paint, they also have rangestore.net, and they sold and still sell Daryl Ralph knives on the website.
Yeah.
And he sent me a bunch of them to photograph,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I got.
nice.
And when I got this one, I called Larry. I'm like, Larry, this isn't going back. This is too good.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Do you do a
that's
lot of in your photography business, do you get a lot of like photography gigs or not too much?
um the short answer is no.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that changes
Hmm.
since I'm cultivating more of that audience on my
Hmm.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the last time I did anything quote unquote paid, with knives, was I was a photojournalist for Three Gun Nation, and
Okay.
ZT was advertising with Three Gun Nation,
Oh.
and I got to review some ZTs
Yeah.
as a result.
How do you feel
And
about them?
I used to just love ZT. I probably had 8 or 10 at one time. I just feel like they've kind of lost their way.
You mean by used to, do you mean the old bulky stuff? Because I miss that too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
right? Like the
exactly.
0456, the
Yeah,
0560, like these big bulky machines. You
they
buy them, they feel like tanks. You're like, why is it so big and heavy? Who cares? I don't know what they're doing right now, you know?
it seems like they're trying to market to like a yuppie crowd or something. If you look at their advertising,
Yeah.
it's very unusual. But
I've got to try the 0707, which is like it has a tune detent system that you could adjust, right? You
mhm.
could apply pressure on the lock bar and there's no problem opening it. It's very light. But again, it's like I'm in this group chat with like some of the YouTube elites, quote unquote. I'm not gonna mention names, but one of them was like, "Man, I don't know how I feel about this because it's a cool knife, but it feels almost like a high-end Kershaw." And
Yeah,
like ZT used to be like what we were just talking about now, these big, bulky beasts. And when you get it, you know what you paid for. This big metallic thing. I really miss that because the first knife I ever reviewed was Sinkovich design, the 0456, one of my favorite
hmm
knives of ZT. I bought it anodized by JD Cutlery, Jeff Perkins. Came with the lanyard that matched the ano. It was like absolutely amazing. That was my first review on YouTube. So, when I see some ZTs now, it's like they're making these smaller knives and that are I'm like, well, that's not, how about the 0900? Make more small knives like the 0900, designed by
yeah,
Lace George. That's what I miss,
yeah. You were talking about some of those YouTube elites. What I find interesting is a lot of these guys, Nick Shabazz,
Hmm.
I know, Slicey Dicey,
Hmm.
they've kind of they came in heavy with knives, and now they're starting to get into watches. And I was into
Yes.
watches way before I got into knives and guns and stuff. I used
Yeah.
to write. I used to write for several of the luxury watch industry publications.
Oh, so you
And
write articles as well?
yes, yes,
Wow,
yeah.
that's cool.
I consider at heart, I consider myself a photojournalist.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. That that's one of the things that interested me was I was like, okay, this guy clearly has like the skills, right? Because like a lot of
Not
us.
really.
Well, I'm
I
how long have you been a photographer? Right? Since 2000, you said
so,
2005 or
so
something?
yeah, so
That's
about
15 years,
2000.
man. Like
Right, right. You would think I would know how to do it in that amount of time. But the thing is, I've never really been. I never went to school for it. I've never been
Yeah.
classically trained. I
Mhm.
decided when the mechanical watch renaissance really started happening in the late '90s, early 2000s. I decided I wanted to write a book about Invicta watches, and I was going to
Invicta,
self.
I
Yeah,
bought some before. Yeah.
yeah. I wanted to self publish it, and I quickly came to the realization that to make it successful, you know, photography would be a focal point of the book, and I didn't have the budget to hire a photographer, but I could. So I bought a camera and I taught myself
Yeah.
how to take photos. And the book, I did self publish it. It wasn't, it didn't set the world on fire sales wise, but it did attract some attention from some of the publishers of industry trade publications, and
Mhm.
things really rolled, after that.
That's amazing, dude. I love stories like that, man, where you just kind of like went for it and it worked out.
Yeah,
Um, are you on any, so you said that you're trying to be more active on your Instagram and on your YouTube. Are you on any
correct.
other platforms?
I have a personal Facebook page, but
Yeah.
that's really about it.
Is it a time
Of course,
constraint?
it is. I mean, I have
Yeah.
a pretty responsible full time gig. Uh,
Gotcha,
I'm a
gotcha.
I'm a program manager for a defense contractor that does work at
Okay, got
Wright-Patterson
it.
Air Force Base.
So
So
yeah, it's gonna take up a lot of time. I mean, the reason
yeah.
why I ask is, I've got a buddy of mine. He's done the podcast before. He's sitting at, I want to say, 4.6 thousand subs on YouTube right now. He's been on YouTube for like less than 5 months. He's sitting
Wow.
on 5,000 Instagram followers on Instagram. But he started from TikTok. He's got over
Oh,
210,000 followers on TikTok. And he's the one that basically convinced me. So I was on TikTok before trying to make knife content. I wasn't doing the dances, like I wasn't doing the whoa and all that.
I was
I
gonna
wasn't
say I don't
yeah.
dance all that
Yeah.
well, so I don't.
No, that's the thing, right? And I was explaining this to Vitesse Design. He's like, designed some pretty cool knives, right?
Yeah.
Because he commented on one of my videos which featured his knife, the Tucson knives Jaeger. And that is one of my biggest videos to date on TikTok. It has over 200,000 views, like over 4,600
Wow.
comments. Just insane. Like that's the thing with TikTok right now. Instagram, when you got into it maybe 5 or 6 years ago and you were heavily posting on it, you were seeing these huge jumps in engagement, right? Which is the
Hmm.
most important thing on social media. And with TikTok right now, that can happen just by chance still.
Hmm.
So with the EDC community, maybe not with other spaces like hip hop or music production, but when it comes to EDC or knives or maybe even photography a little bit, you can still jump on that. And maybe in 5 years, you'll have amass this huge audience. So yeah, Everyday Minimalist, he's basically the guy that was like, dude, this is how you do it. Post 3 times a day, 15-second videos only. Don't do too much work. And I basically figured out my way to not get flagged, because if you open a knife on TikTok and you don't cut something, you get flagged for community guideline violation. So, but what
Oh my gosh.
the workaround for that is I literally do this. Hey, this is the Tucson knives 232, and I'm gonna do a cut test right now, and I just cut a cardboard box, and I'm gonna say, if you want more information, just like hit up my YouTube, and like I'll get like 10,000 views, a couple of engagements here and there. They'll follow my Instagram, they'll follow my YouTube, and that's how Everyday Minimalist has like grown so quickly.
Oh
You know what I
wow.
mean? Yeah,
That's
so it's
that's good
kind of like an
advice.
interesting thing. The photography thing angle is interesting for you because there are a lot of photographers on there that do sort of like you don't have to be the guy in front of the camera. You literally could just say, hey, today I took pictures of this and this is how I did it. This is kind of like what I did in Lightroom. Just a quick thing, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. And it just that's it. And it'll be
Ray, you trying
something
to say
that
I
you're
don't look good in front of the camera? Is that what you're trying to say?
no, no, because some people don't want to be in front of the camera, right? Like and a lot of the photographers
Yeah.
actually they just show their work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're just
Absolutely.
getting
Yeah.
massive numbers, man. And I'm like, damn, it's just an underutilized thing, especially in our, like gear hobby, like our gear
So
community, right?
so what is the demographic of the people that are watching these? Because I offhand I don't know of anybody that I in my social media circle that's on TikTok. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious, who are the people that are watching these videos?
Same with me. So there are, I forgot how many people are on TikTok right now. I know it's like millions, right? And they are the new emerging platform. Like there was this, kind of like rumor that they were going to be banned, but that was
Right.
actually impossible. Like, like people on TikTok like cleared it up and they were never banned. But basically, most people, even people outside the gear community, think that TikTok is for teenagers that are dancing and doing these funny trends and kind of like cringy videos. Um, and you're asking like what the audience is, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the age range is vast because I see people that are in their like 70s on there, like making content. And I think it's just gonna be this powerhouse thing along with Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, right? Because the numbers don't lie. Everyday Minimalist is basically a blueprint for a knife person that wants to get into it. All he does
Interesting.
is
Yeah.
literally he would just go like this. He works with Blade Ops in I think he's in Utah. He works with Blade Ops, a retailer, and he'll just say like, "This is the Protect so and so," and he'll just cut an orange, and he goes, "This is da da da." These are specs. You could get this on Blade Ops right now. The link is in my bio, and that's it. And he'll just make like maybe 3 videos of this every day, just 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and man, the numbers are enough to make like any big knife YouTuber cry. I'm talking like 400,000, 500,000, just like very very nice comments too, because he's nourished that audience way before any of us did. And then
Hmm.
he's like, dude, try that. Just do 15-second clips. My TikTok wasn't moving. It was at about 200. And I think I grew to almost 3,000 now in like a month. So it's just a cool thing to try,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to look
I'm
into
gonna
it.
see you
Absolutely.
dancing on we're gonna duet each other and like do
Here's my knife.
I know, right? No, because you can duet each other. So one cool thing that
Oh, okay.
Minimalist did for me was I did like a pocket check.
Okay.
I was like, all right, all my EDC people, like, tell me what wallet you carried today, what flashlight you carried today, what knife you carried today, and what hank you carried today. And then he duetted me, and he basically showed the same items that he had. And that's the thing that you can do too. It's a very weird thing, but I do think that in 5 years, everyone will start doing it. I do.
Interesting.
I truly believe that, man. I truly
Yeah.
believe. Like you look how many new YouTube knife people are right now. There's so many. How long have you
True.
been doing it? Like 8 years, right? You've been on YouTube.
At least. Yeah.
Have you
I
just been
like that.
trying to be more active now?
Yeah, I'll go in spurts.
Yeah.
It really depends on my work schedule.
Hmm.
Um, but I've been trying to post. Uh, I haven't been posting once a week, but I've been posting a lot more. Probably 3 times a month at least.
Yeah.
So I could never post daily like like Metal Complex or somebody like
Oh,
that. And
dude, Metal Complex posts like 4 times a day. But you know
yeah,
what? Like that dude
yeah,
works so hard, man. And he's
he
like such
must.
a sweet guy too. Like I podcasted
Yeah,
with him 2 times, and I would never imagine that he is like that. First of all, the dude is yoked. He's jacked, man.
yeah,
Right? And
yeah.
he
He's a
looks
big
like he
boy.
looks like a Mark Wahlberg type dude. And he's like, "Oh, I play video games," and I'm expecting him to play like Call of Duty or something like that. And he's like, "No, I play like World of Warcraft, Diablo 3." Like, So he's like playing all like the nerdy stuff that I play, and he's just
Yeah.
such a nice guy, man. There was something I was gonna ask you.
Is it about my YouTube channel or?
Yes. So I think this is a good strategy for you. If you could post, have you heard of Advanced Knife Bro?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So he posts like maybe once a month, I would say, right?
Yep.
But he makes this grand thing.
Oh, his quality is
Love it.
unbelievable.
Absolutely love his stuff. He's an
So much
inspiration.
personality and
Mhm.
humor and yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I hate my videos. I try, you know, I hate my videos. I think I'm too dry and
No, you know what?
your stuff is great. Your stuff is great. I mean,
I have
you have
no
so much
idea what I'm
production.
talking about. Like honestly, like like when I do
Yeah.
when I talk in my videos, I make it clear that the audience knows, do not come to me for knife advice. If you want someone who's new to the game and is seeing these cool knives that most people don't get to check out, if you want to hear what he thinks about it, you come here. I do some editing and stuff here and there. I don't have a lot of high-end gear, man. It's just a phone. I have a phone. I have a tablet. I don't even own a computer. Like, I live in the Bronx, dude. When you go outside, people are burning things in a barrel. It's like, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I saw a
Yeah.
guy trying to steal a city bike the other night. I'm like, what the hell?
But you have so much creativity. The tools that you have, you make the most of,
Yeah.
and that's what's fantastic.
You know, the thing is, like you were saying how you were drawing your videos, and to me, I just felt like you were this knowledgeable dude. And actually, like your personality comes through much more when us doing this podcast right now, which I wasn't expecting that. You're very like
Okay.
open guy. And
Yeah.
you know, when I got home, you know, the lady was trying to hang out with me. She's like, look, I got this new Theragun massager for my back and stuff. And I'm like, I can't talk to you right now. I gotta set up for the podcast, right? And
Dude, when your lady has a
I,
massager and she wants to show it, you tell me it's gonna wait, bro. It's gonna wait.
no, because like we both hurt our
Go
back.
test the
And it's
massager.
one of those deep tissue, like, you know, like loosen up the, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
anyway, like, yeah, I was like, I don't know how good this podcast is gonna be. I gotta psych myself up, you know. I was like, think of me as a method actor. I'm a method podcaster, man. I gotta get in the zone. So like, don't talk to me. I was like, like, you know, just I'll hang out with you tomorrow. But yeah, like after talking to you, you know, this much, like, dude, you're like really cool, like really chill, very open guy. And I think just get more of that out in the videos and you'll be good. I mean, you know your stuff.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always trying to improve.
Is there any companies that you want to check out right now that you've been into aside from the stuff that you have? Have you checked
That's a
out
good question.
TRM?
You know what? Their latest drop or
Mhm.
their latest sign up, I did throw some money to sign up for an Atom.
Yeah,
I think it's going to come in February, so that'll be
yeah.
my first exposure to TRM. I want to check out ProTech. I'd love to check out one of the Malibus.
We got him. We got him, dude. Yeah,
I've never really done much with ProTech.
yeah.
Just
I got to check out the Mordax. That's a ProTech. That was really cool. I was like, man, these guys make some cool stuff. I don't really opt for the automatics because I can't.
sure.
First of all, like I can't have them in my house.
You would like to stay out of jail. You would like.
Well,
to
I mean, I could have it in my house, but I don't want it there to ever be a time like, let's say let's say when the channel does like explode and they're like, look, he has automatics, he lives in New York City, and you know all this weird stuff happens. So but the Mordax was a flipper with a button lock. It was super smooth, man. Like if Protex feel like that, it was just so cool.
Is that the same blade length as a Malibu? Because
The
I know the
Malibu,
Malibu is under 3.5. It's like 3.2,
it was
3.3, I
you know
think.
what? It was kind of like I don't remember, but it was big for me. Like it wasn't like
Okay.
a yeah, I'm gonna say it was at least like 3.25 or higher.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but it was definitely like bigger than what I normally like. That's one of the things that I didn't like about it because I live here. But it was so everything about it was so good, man. Very
Yeah.
smooth, good
Yeah.
ergos. The button lock, usually you get that lock stick, you know what I mean, on the button lock. It's usually none of that. It was just
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah. I liked it, man. I liked it. Yeah, TRM, dude. If you want, I can send you my Neutron. I have one. I had an Atom, and I absolutely loved it. I reviewed it, but then a buddy of mine, a photographer actually, shout out to Bob B, not Bobby. That's that's what I call him. He's like, "Hey, do you want to trade for a Neutron? And I'll send you 2 scales on the house." So I got 3 pairs of scales and the Neutron. So I traded him my Atom. So I only have the Neutron, which is a smaller one. I'll be down to
Sure.
loan that to you if you want to check it out.
Oh, that's very generous. Thank you so
Yeah, no
much.
problem, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, TRM, really, really cool. I'm interested to hear what you think about that. What's your favorite CRK?
Um, pr- Obviously the Sabenza, that's
Yeah,
just such a classic, but the Omnum, you know,
yeah.
particularly, as a guy who has an appreciation for more tactical knives,
Hmm.
the Omnum, it's kind of funny. I actually met and got to spend a little bit of time with Chris Reeve at Blade Show several years ago. And he was very, very concerned about the tactical movement within the knife community back when the tactical thing was so big and so huge, and
Yeah,
everybody was making tactical knives. He was very concerned that there was going to be legal repercussions for knife makers, and that it was there was going to be a huge backlash. So
yeah.
they've never really made a true what I'll call tactical knife, but the Omnum is probably the closest in that regard.
You ever got to check out like the Yojimbo 2 or anything like that? That's
I
a
have
Spider
not.
Co.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
It's a
that
tactical
with
knife,
the
right?
name.
That's a tactical one, right? Isn't it?
It is. It is. It is.
I'm gonna show you a
Um,
freaky one right now, dude, of that. So I have a Yojimbo 2 right here. However, this is a very special Yojimbo 2. This is a Blade Chops edition. So my homie Blade Chops
okay.
chopped this. It's the 3-inch now. Pretty cool, dude. Pretty cool.
Nice.
So basically I could
Very
carry
nice.
this in New York City right now. It's so weird. But yeah, it is a pretty funky one, man. You like Spyderco's at all?
I probably got started on Spyderco's. I bought
Yeah.
an all stainless steel Dragonfly that had it was partially serrated. Bought bought it off of eBay. Um, but 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 the thing that kills me about Spyderco is that they do so many sprint runs, and I like a
Yeah.
company like CRK, like Koenig, like Hinder, that I can beat up my knife and I can send it back to them, and they'll put it through a spa service and send it back to me, and
Yeah.
it'll look new again. And Spyderco just puts out too much stuff to be able to do anything like that. And
I see.
but there's a couple. There's like oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the model that has the holes in it. That's really really popular right now. DLT Trading just did a red version of it. Boy, the name is
It has the
escaping me.
holes in it.
Um,
I thought you were gonna talk about the Hawkbill type one.
no,
You know what I'm talking about? That Spyderco, because that was like tactical, right? Man, I
um,
can't think of it either.
uh, it's it's a sheep's foot. Gosh, what is the name of that? There's a couple Spydercos that I wouldn't mind checking out.
Yeah.
That's um,
How about Benchmade?
Benchmade. I had a Benchmade earlier this year. Gosh, my brain is just not working, but it was the one that just everybody fell in love with. It was kind of a big blade. It was about 3.5 inches. It was black with
Oh,
G10.
with kind of pointy.
Yeah,
Shit.
it was
I think I know what you're talking about too.
it was
I don't
very
know a lot of
similar.
the
It was
models.
very similar. It was very similar to this knife from Hogue, but
Yes,
it had
yes, yes.
a black blade and kind of a blue black G10. I reviewed it, and it has red. It had red backspace backspacers, but
Man,
nothing
I
else.
you know what's crazy? It's like in my head, I can see the knife that you're talking about,
I just
but I
can't think
also
of it.
don't like I you
I
know,
know.
I haven't jumped on the bandwagon for Benchmade and Spyderco's yet. Like with Spyderco's, I always felt like they look like ducks, kind of. I
They're
was
not.
like, man,
They're
these
not the
knives are
most
like
aesthetically
these
pleasing.
knives
They're
are,
not. They're.
yeah, I'm like, these knives are like Duck Hunt, you know, like the video game with the dog, he gets the duck, brings it back. I'm like, that's what, you know, and then with Benchmades, until I got one in my hand, I kind of didn't. I was like, why would anyone buy these? They're so like they're not attractive to me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm right there with you. I'm right there
But
with
when I
you.
got it in my hand, and then I played with the Axis lock, and I was like, okay, I get why people like them.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
they do have that warranty service too. They'll send you screws and stuff like that, which is kind of cool, and give you a pocket clip and things of that nature. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess my favorite American brand would have to be TRM right now, because that's like I haven't
Okay.
checked out a Hinder or a Strider yet. I like Chris Reeve knives, but for what I need it for, I don't need to go. I'm not Scrooge McDuck rich yet, so I don't usually go past 200, right?
Gotcha.
I usually
Gotcha.
don't go past 200. 250, 275 is kind of like how far I would go. Not that they're not great knives. The only thing that really pissed me off was like I was flicking it on Instagram and people were like really upset with me that you're not supposed to do that. You gotta slow roll it. I'm like,
Oh,
what?
dude.
What? The
Well,
guy
first
that
of
loaned
all,
it to me was like, dude, flip. Yeah,
I, you know, I
exactly.
yeah, these are large Savenza. My hands are too small.
Yeah,
I can't slow
you
roll it
can't slow roll it.
without readjusting my grip. So I gotta flip it open. I have small hands.
Yeah.
So
Are you a fidget kind of knife guy? Do you tend to just flip
I'm
stuff
becoming
open
more
all the time
so.
when you're
Actually, it's
yeah.
funny. When I bought my Synapse from Joseph Vero, this was the first time I
Yeah.
tried doing the middle finger flick thing, and
Yeah. And you got it
and
finally.
I finally got it. I'm like, woo!
Dude, that
So
looks dialed in. The way the action on that looks super nice. Wow.
I put skiff bearings in it. Oh,
Yeah. Oh
oh,
man.
it's
So
nice.
you
It is
replaced it,
nice.
or how does that work exactly?
Yeah, uh, I don't know if you know skiff bearings, but they
I've
make
heard.
bearings for a lot of a lot of
Mhm.
knife. They are like the most well respected, most well regarded bearing maker, and you can buy their bearings to replace bearings that are in
Like
other knives, and
anything.
I pretty much
Wow.
yeah.
And it just like
So
improved the action even more.
it did. It did. It's a little.
Damn.
It's a little bit smoother, just a little bit.
Wow, man, that is amazing. You know, back to your business for a little bit. How has COVID been treating you, man? How has this pandemic kind of like infected your life in any way?
Well, I've been stuck right here in my basement for since March. I mean,
Damn.
I've got a nice office and
Mhm.
I enjoy going into the office. I enjoy the commute in the morning, um, and I enjoy kind of getting set for my day in that commute. I enjoy the commute home, being able to decompress in the car before I get home. I enjoy the social interaction with the people in the office,
Mhm.
and man, I feel like I'm on house arrest.
Yeah.
It's
So you haven't
it's
left
it's
at all?
not. I haven't been back to work. I mean, I've been going to the grocery store and
Okay, okay. That's what I was gonna
you
say.
know,
Yeah.
I was able to go to a few matches earlier in the spring and the summer, but
Mhm.
yeah, the social life is definitely curtailed greatly, and
So no
it's just
like
been
going
hard.
out to dinner with the wife or anything like that?
Well, my wife is pretty concerned about COVID. She's
Yeah.
uh, probably more so than I am, um,
Yeah.
but so we've only been out to dinner once or twice. It's
Yeah.
mostly been DoorDash or get stuff delivered.
That's
Um,
what we were doing too. I think for 3 months I didn't leave my apartment except to throw out the garbage. And then,
Wow.
things started. I mean, in March, people were really scared. You know what I mean? We were all like, oh no, what's going on? Call
Right.
Dustin
Right.
Hoffman. It's the movie Outbreak. You know what I mean? Find the monkey, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, but so I didn't leave for like 3 months. And my lung collapsed when I was 23. So my family was really worried,
Oh my
previously. And
goodness.
yeah, I was partying and like breakdancing and something happened and it just collapsed one day. I didn't know. I went to work. I was smoking cigarettes and coughing. I didn't find
Oh
out for
geez.
yeah, but anyway, I'm fine now. I have both lungs. I regenerated just like Wolverine. I've got both of them. But my family was kind of worried. Of course, they have good
Sure.
reason to. So they didn't have me go to the shop or anything, which is I was working there at the time. But after a little bit, like things started to open up, and I've been working 6 days a week, man. I've been working 6 days a week. I wear a mask. Don't sit next to people on the train. And New York City is like the hotbed. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Right.
yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
sit next to people on the train. I kind of just stand up and lean against the door and all that. And yeah, I've been fine. I mean, I'm not like chomping at the bit to go hug my mom or anything because she's 70 years old. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do that.
Yeah.
But it seems like New York City is surviving. We went out
Yeah.
to eat a couple of times, and Koreatown is about a 2 block long stretch, right? And what Manhattan does is basically those 2 blocks are blocked off. You can't drive through them anymore.
Oh
And
wow.
restaurants open and they have outside seating with like tents, and that's how you eat, and you have to wear your mask until you're seated, and then you can only take it off when you're eating. So that's what it is like right now. uh
Wow.
but
Wow.
yeah, I've been working 6 days a week, man. People come into the store. You have to have a mask on. We wear masks. I hand sanitizer after every transaction. That's pretty much how I've been doing, and I've been okay. I mean, I'm just gonna turn 40, so I can't really say that I'm in the group that is gonna, get really sick.
Well, see, I'm an old guy, so my wife is very concerned about me. I'm
Yeah, I
I'm gonna
mean,
be I'm gonna be 51 in April.
yeah, I mean, look, but just I think that of course be safe, you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
if you
Yeah.
don't have to go out, don't. But yeah, man, that 3 months where it was just like we were just in here. My girl and I were in here because my girl's a personal trainer. Equinox, she works at Equinox, the gym. They were closed, and we were just here. We're getting groceries delivered to us, like opening the door, like, and just like close it back. That's how we were for 3 months. We didn't leave the house, man.
Was that hard being around each other that much?
You know what? I think that's a good question because a lot of people break up and people are fighting. Some of my
Right.
people that I knew were like, man, my girl's driving me crazy. We bonded throughout the thing, man. I don't know if it's just because my girl and I are both nerds, I guess. I mean, we have all these movies. We were just streaming stuff on Netflix and like just hanging out. Like I think what was good was my girlfriend, my fiance actually, she sells plants on Etsy, and she has a
Hmm.
pretty thriving business. She sells succulents. Shout out to Happy Go Sucky on Instagram. That's not sexual. That's plants. She sells succulents, and she had a business that was thriving. So we would probably watch a movie and eat lunch together, and then we had our own things to do. I was working on YouTube. She was like repotting plants and filling orders. So it's kind of like we were working in the apartment, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
we'd rendezvous for dinner and kind of just wind down together. And no,
Okay.
we didn't get on each other's nerves, which is crazy. I thought that maybe we would. We got closer. It was like insane. And that's what happened to us, man. How about you?
Well, my wife is the director of HR for a company that's only about a mile away from the house,
Yeah.
and they're still going into the office at this
Mhm.
point. So she was going in, but one of the hard things for me, it wasn't the closeness or seeing more of her. It was an interesting dynamic because she's usually close to the house. So when we have dogs, we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
Rottweilers and a lab, and
Awesome.
and and she would come home during lunch and she would let the dogs out. She was usually the first one home. She would feed them. Now I'm here, so she's like, "Why don't you feed the dogs? Why don't you let them out? You know, why don't you?" She'll call me, "Hey, since you're home, why don't you do this?" I'm like, but I'm supposed to be working. You got to pretend like I'm not here. Yeah, but just go ahead and do this. And, okay.
Yeah, because you're working remotely, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm working harder than I ever have in my life.
Right.
It seems like, and then she's really cranking up the honeydew list. I'm like,
yeah.
COVID itself couldn't be this bad.
It's like, give me COVID now, please.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, people that were working remotely, man, they work like more. I have a buddy of mine who works for Skydance. They're a big production company. They do movie, video games, all that stuff. He was like, dude, I've never worked more in my whole life than right now. I think he's a VP of marketing or something. And he's like, I just nonstop, just calls. And, and he's like, man, I'm just drinking now on the Zoom. I was like, oh, that's so awesome, man. Yeah. Hey, John, dude, we did an hour basically right now.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome? Podcasts are great, man. That's another cool thing. If you ever want to be on here to promote anything, let's say you're doing a new project in the knife world or whatever it is that you want to promote, you're more than welcome to be on here, man. It was a pleasure having you on.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude, you're good. You're natural at it. There have been guests where it got kind of dicey. It got a little dicey. Like I'd ask somebody something. I'm like, yeah, so what else do you like to do aside from knives? And they'll be like, you watch the show Game of Thrones? And I'm like, yeah, I love that show. Never seen it. Like something, you know what I mean? It's like, so
do you play basketball? I've never played a game in my life.
Yeah, like something like weird, like, right. But it was very easy talking to you, dude. Definitely if you want to set up that TikTok. No, if you ever need anything,
you'll duo with me.
Yeah. Yeah, if you ever need anything, dude, or if you want to collab on something, send me your details. I'll send you the Neutron. You can check it out. I'll send you the scales too. That way you can like take it apart, because that's like the best thing about it is taking it apart. It's so easy. It's like the craziest thing. Yeah, but dude, it was a pleasure having you on. Where can people find you?
You can find me on my Instagram. That's Through My Lens JBH.
Okay.
My YouTube channel, John Through My Lens,
and that's of course, Thru with a THRU, right?
Correct. Okay. Correct. And then throughmylens.org is my website. Again, with THRUMYLENS.org. And you can always reach me via my website as well.
Dude, thank you for doing this, man. That was awesome. This is your boy in the NYC. It's me, Ray, and this is the EDCC saying peace. Yo, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so we can squad up in the comments.